Matthew Stuckey here from Verity Baptist Church Manila, just providing you another missionary update. And we had another great week at church. Our attendances have been really high. This is our third straight week we've been over 50. We had 54 this past week, so it did not break our attendance record, but we still did very well with attendance, and we've been having a lot of visitors here at church, which is very exciting. And we're doing our best to try to keep everybody around and getting them integrated into everything at church, the games, the fellowship, the soul winning, and things such as that. So that was very exciting. For salvations this past week, we had 56 salvations, and so it's not a bad total, but we were hoping to get a lot more, but then yesterday it really rained very hard during our afternoon soul winning, so it did hinder us quite a bit, and we still went out there, but we didn't get as many people saved. We didn't get that many people saved yesterday. So overall, though, we still have 56 salvations. And this is kind of the roughest time of the year, I believe, because rain can be a hindrance. And it doesn't stop us from preaching the gospel, but it can stop people from being out and about, that we can talk to them, or people being willing to listen. But we're still doing the work, and 56 salvations, we're pleased with that. It came through a lot of hours of hard work from a lot of people. And so our attendance was really good. And this past week, on Wednesday, I preached on Pontius Pilate the politician. And so that's kind of the theme of John 19, and we're getting close to the end of the book of John, and we're going to be moving on to the book of Esther. But the book of John's been great. A lot of great salvation doctrine and the core fundamentals that we got to be grounded on continually. And then on Sunday, we finished up our series on the dark history of the Roman Catholic Church, and we finished up on the Philippines specifically. And the history of the history of the Philippines is very interesting, and it's very morphed into Catholicism. And one of the things that's interesting is that two of the heroes in our country are Lapu-Lapu and Jose Rizal, and both of them stood against the Roman Catholic Church, and they tried to kill Lapu-Lapu, and he ended up killing Ferdinand Magellan and many of his men, who fled back to Spain. And then, contrary to popular belief, Ferdinand Magellan did not sail around the world. He was killed in the Philippines. And then Jose Rizal spoke against the Catholic Church, and he was actually killed by Spain and the Catholic Church as there was a battle between Spain and the Philippines. He actually wrote a few famous books that were banned from being read anywhere in the Philippines, and now they read them in the Philippines, but they've kind of changed the words a lot. And so I'm actually going through the process of reading it in its original language. Eventually, probably, the original language is Spain, and so I can understand most of it, but there's a lot that I can't. So if I do finish them, I'm going to need to brush up on that. But it is a very important part of our history. And so I just went through the history of the Roman Catholic Church here in the Philippines, and it has a very dark history just in our country alone. And then in the second service, I preached on how to bring visitors to church. So kind of the hardcore sermon in the first sermon, and then kind of the more balanced sermon, practical sermon in the second service. And as our church started, we didn't really have much of a follow-up program. We were trying to find a building, and where we were located, it's really more of a tourist area. We came here, and obviously everything's new, and so we've done our best with follow-up, but we wanted to kind of get a systematic approach. And so we kind of worked through that, and we're excited about that. And so we're going to, especially the people that are nearby, that are in this village, we want to try different methods to bring them. And we do have a few different follow-up programs, or we do have a few different follow-up tools. We have information on baptism and also church attendance that we have made that we give to people. And we're trying our best, and so definitely pray about that. And God has blessed us with an attendance growth, but we want to do our best to do our part as well. And so that's something that we're working on. And we got a lot of soul winning marathons coming up, a lot of projects. I'm going to be guest preaching at a few churches here over the next several months, which is going to be exciting. So a lot of great things going on. I think there's some people that are planning to move here, so God's definitely blessing, and we're excited about that. And for a fellowship and game night, it went really well. And it was my wife's suggestion to hold off the championship chess match to the game night. And I think that's a good idea, because we have a lot of board games and fellowship activities. And I think in the future, as we're going to probably be doing a Scrabble tournament, we'll probably keep the finale for the next game night, something like that. And so it's been very exciting for us as our church has grown numerically, but honestly, we've grown a lot closer as a church, as friends and family, and that's something that's very exciting and important with the church as well. And so in the championship chess match, I did lose the match. I was the underdog and I did not win. It was a 2-hour final match. And to give you a quick recap, in case you're interested in chess, basically neither one of us took any pieces, the first 25 pieces for both of us. It was all about positioning, and it was really interesting, really a strategic battle going on. Then we kind of traded 6 pieces. We each got a pawn, a knight, and a bishop. And so we were kind of even. And he castled to his right, and I castled to my right. I was playing with white. And so originally my attack was on the right side, as was his, but since he castled to the other side, I moved my queen over, I had my rooks connected, and so then basically the battle went on, and it went from being a very defensive battle to an extremely offensive attack for both sides. And we had basically 3 battles going on. He had, in my far right corner near my king, he had a dangerous position on me with a queen and a bishop that had a line there to attack, and also a knight and a rook that he was trying to get in the open file but wasn't yet in the open file. And basically I had an attack on his side with, I was pushing my pawns up to try to get a queen, and so that was interesting. And in the middle of the board he had a bit of an advantage on the pawns. And so basically I went to a place in the game where I decided to sacrifice a bishop for positioning, and I went for a really aggressive attack. And he had a position to take my knight with a pawn, and before I sacrificed my bishop, I protected my knight. I decided it was too big of a sacrifice to make. And then during the middle of the board, he took a couple pawns as I was sacrificing my bishop. And honestly, there was a lot of different possibilities how the game was going to go. And my bishop I sacrificed, and then I was in a position to get a queen with my pawn. But the only problem was I was 1 move behind, because his pawn would end up getting a queen I wouldn't be able to defend. So basically, I would have gotten a queen, his rook would have taken my queen, my rook would have taken his queen. The problem is, if I moved the rook off this file down here, I couldn't stop his pawn that would become a queen. My king was 1 move away from being able to stop that from becoming a queen. So basically what took place was he moved his rook to block my pawn from becoming a queen, and his rook was pinned in there. The problem was, as I had sacrificed a bishop and a couple pawns for that offensive attack, he was able to slowly just wear me out because he had the better pieces and a little bit better positioning on the rest of the board. And so it was a very exciting match that both of us thought. And the first like 35 minutes of the game, 40 minutes of the game, no pieces were even taken. We were both kind of planning out our attacks, and it was a 2-hour final match. So it went a long time, and we tested our ability. And I was happy because I didn't make any bad moves. As far as I'm aware, I'm sure if you put the game into the computer, they'd say, hey, this was bad, or this was a mistake. But neither one of us made any blunders, and we both played pretty solid games. We made good moves. I'm sure we could have made some adjustments, but the better man won. He is better at chess than me, but it was a good game, and I look forward to playing him in the future. It was a lot of fun. I enjoy chess. It really, tests your mind and ability. So anyways, maybe you're not interested in chess, but that's a quick recap of the final game. And so we do have a church champion. Brother Franklin is our champion here at church. And we're going to be having a Scrabble tournament, I think, here next. We have a couple different tournaments coming up, so that's going to be exciting. And we'll probably do that for our next game night. But anyways, things are going great at church. We're definitely growing as a church, and we have plans to reach more people, try to have a follow-up program, get more people baptized and things such as that. So continue to pray for us, especially pray for the weather. It has hindered us a little bit with soul winning. And also pray for people at our church. Our church is filled with people that love the Lord, but there's always things to pray about, and there's new things every week, and just pray for them and things such as that. Thank you, and God bless.